Welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk about the new Walking Dead comic, issue 179. Real quick before we dive into that, if you are interested in Doomsday Kingdom, if you put your order in and you are waiting for the update, we have our printed copies of issue 2 and of issue 1. There's a lot more. There's boxes to the side, but this is as big of a stack as I'm going to pick up. Like I said, if you have an order in, I'm going to be doing an update video in a couple hours going over the specifics, covering everything because there's different editions and some of them go out at different times. But shipping has started, so that's the good news. And keep an eye out on the channel for the update video. The other thing, we have a Walking Dead TV show video coming out with some channel information as well, so keep an eye out for that. And the Fortnite video for everyone asking, the Tomato Tom one, I don't know what else to call them. It's a funny one. It's kind of like a little comedy video. It's not just like a gameplay. A lot of editing went into that just to add a little more humor to it, so keep an eye out for that. That's coming probably tomorrow as well. Now, diving into issue 179, we're going to recap it in a second, but the big villain has finally shown its face, and it's white people. I'm teasing. It's basically class warfare, essentially, is what they're setting up, because you have different classes in this society in the Commonwealth. If you were in the upper class in your previous life, you're automatically in the upper class in this life. And based on what you did before, like Michonne, she was a lawyer, and the Commonwealth needs lawyers, so she can make a comfortable living and live better than other people at the Commonwealth, or a lot of other people at the Commonwealth, because of her class, you know, and her skill, essentially, in the old life. Now, right off the bat, I will say, this issue didn't blow me away, but you need issues like this that bridge the gap between action and suspense and tension. You're not going to have every issue being the all-out war, every issue being Fear the Hunters. I know early on in the world of The Walking Dead, you had so much going on because it was straight survival, and now people have established communities, and the story flow is absolutely different than what it was. And I don't think it's ever going to be the same unless they take characters on side missions and we go out and explore and discover new things, which is something I've been talking about for at least a year, if not longer. I really want to see that in the world of The Walking Dead. And once they cover the Commonwealth and we get into that storyline, I think there's a lot of potential to dive into discovering what else is out there. So I'm keeping my hopes high that we will spill over into that part of the storyline. But this issue in particular, it's better consumed, I believe, in volumes. Like this volume, it's probably an easier read than waiting month to month. If you're a little underwhelmed or not as excited for these particular issues, I get the idea, but I still think if you go back, as long as the Commonwealth ends up being something really awesome story-wise, you could go back and probably read these in one big chunk, and it might be a better read. Like the Here's Negan, it's such a better read when you read it all at once. Absolutely love it, as opposed to breaking it up into pieces. So to recap, we conclude Simon's outburst. It's not Simon. Sebastian's outburst. I think I kept calling him Lance in the last video, but he slapped Elodie, and he is just the most obnoxious, annoying little shit of a character, and I already can't wait till he dies. We covered small moments between the characters, just showing that they've been there for a few days, they're getting a little bit of an idea of what this community is all about, and a possible merger of the two communities or the two groups working together if everything works out when the governor meets up with Rick Grimes. We have a hint at Eugene and Stephanie possibly getting together, and in the letter hacks they did address that she is an African American, but they messed up her tone, so that would explain why she looked like, what was that girl in Scooby-Doo? Someone said it in the comments section. I keep forgetting her name, Velma or something like that. So that was just a simple mistake with the tone, and they did highlight that. Football looked weird. They had the characters watching a football game, and the football artwork in the world of The Walking Dead looked odd. Not because it was poorly drawn, just because we're so used to, you know, zombies and the horror aspect, seeing people sitting down watching a football game. For me, it just looked kind of odd, and not in a negative way, just a little out of place. But obviously that is the point, is what I'm trying to stress. It's not a bad thing. That is the point. Magna won me over with two small things this issue. One being a little angry and annoyed with the class warfare and saying, listen, I'm done with this. I don't ever want to come back here. That's how I feel as a reader. I'm already sick of the Commonwealth. I want nothing to do with it. It can go in interesting directions, absolutely. But the class warfare, Sebastian, that is his name, right? So fucking annoying and obnoxious, I want nothing to do with it. You know? I think that stems from being born in probably the lower class. I am interested to see where this story's going to go, but just hearing the word upper class, I cringe and I want nothing to do with it. And the second thing, we have Magna telling Princess she should live at the hilltop. Small little thing, but yeah, she does have some potential though. Speaking about Princess, they showcased, or they revealed, the new cover coming out with Mercer and Princess on it. And what's interesting is, if the positions of the characters look familiar, they actually took the old issue with Michonne and Abraham. I think it was issue like 92 or something like that. They took that cover and they recreated it with these two characters. Now, I like that cover a lot with Michonne and Abraham, but that's because we built a connection, especially with Michonne over, what, like 80 issues, Abraham over like 30-ish issues. So we had this connection with these characters, and it's a cool cover, and yada yada yada. And then we got these newer characters, and honestly, I could really care less at this point. But I am fine if we build this connection, and then later on, it's like, okay, these characters grew on me, I like these characters, so now I like the cover. You get what I'm saying? It's kind of like automatically I'm gonna like it if I like the characters already. We just haven't had time. I'm a little unsure. I do like Mercer already way more than I do like Princess, but still Princess doesn't annoy me as much as she seems to annoy some people out there. A lot of people just really don't like the Princess thing. I think she does come off a little too silly, a little too goofy, but I got a loose sense of humor. You know, if you find a goofy character, there's goofy people in real life, so we'll see how it goes. As long as it doesn't get too much or interfere with the story, I'm not that mad with it, you know what I mean? Michonne giving up her sword, that is something that relates back to Alexandria. And if you guys didn't pick up on it, I'm sure you did, because they covered it in the comic pretty well and they covered it in the show. But when Michonne gets to Alexandria, she realizes she doesn't need her sword anymore. She hangs it on the wall and she wants to be done with that part of her life. And then that's when No Way Out happens and everything, right? And then she picks her sword back up and she's like, no, oh no, I'm sorry, the Pete situation with Rick going crazy and all that, she takes her sword and she puts it back on and she carries it throughout Alexandria, and from that point on in the story. But now she's at a point where she really feels like this is the opportunity for her to hang up her sword and be a mother to her daughter, who she has been separated with since even before the apocalypse. So we do have one aspect that they just breezed over that piqued my interest a lot, and it surprised me. But it was with the governor eating, I assume it's better food in the tent, and everyone's sleeping outside. In entertainment, I don't want it to feel like someone saying, look, it's bad. I would rather it be a well fleshed out and interesting story. And if that's what it is, then that's fine. I love it. Perfect example. This little tidbit with her eating, again, presuming it's better food than what our survivors have out there outside the tent. That little bit, I was like, man, I like that. And I think that could have been an interesting thing to explore, because our survivors are used to, if they find canned food, they eat it and share it. If they shoot a squirrel, a dog, this, that, if they find, like, whatever they find, steal, make, scavenge, it doesn't matter, they share it. That's how we're used to seeing it. That's how it should be. Obviously, when you're faced with a world that has collapsed and you're in a small group and you find food, you're not just going to be like, well, I found it, I'm eating this, you can sit there and starve. No, the group has bonded and become a family, and we've watched the survivors grow and unite together. But now you have this leader who's in her tent. This isn't together. This isn't like, okay, we're gonna, you know, shut it down and sleep on the road. I got my guards, you guys come in, there's plenty of room. No, she's got her little table set up. Like, that is her area. This is her being superior to the people on the outside. Doesn't offer to bring them in. Doesn't offer to share food. None of that. that part of the story I feel piqued my interest, and it's something that I am definitely hoping we explore a little more. I don't know. There's something about that little moment that I really enjoy. So I hope we dive into some aspects like that a little more. But the governor already seemed like she's nice, but she's probably just a bitch. I mean, come on. We have the Eugene cliffhanger in the very end. He stalls the guards, and he's going to go give Rick a heads up. That way Rick doesn't get freaked out and shit doesn't pop off when they show up with these armed guards. And obviously they want to, you know, they want to end it on this, oh no, what's going to happen, because Eugene tells Magna for their sake. And obviously the survivors have, you know, kicked so much ass, and every villain they face, they've lost people, but they've defeated the villains. They're very confident, very cocky, and they obviously, that's Eugene, and that's a catchy cliffhanger saying, you know, I hope for their sake they don't pull no bullshit, because we'd kill them all. Probably not Mercer, though. He's a badass. But anyway, yeah, like I said, it was an issue that is good as long as it's connected to a good part of the story. If the Commonwealth story falls apart, then this issue kind of falls apart. But if the Commonwealth story actually is a good storyline, which it is shaping up to be one, if it's done right, then yes, this issue absolutely will be a good read. But I do feel like these type of issues are better read in chunks, whether it's in the volume, a book, or a compendium. You guys let me know if you disagree, if you thought this issue was absolutely excellent as a little solo issue. Maybe that's just me being impatient and wanting an explosive single issue, but I also know I gotta wait. You can't have them every single issue, because without the build-up, you don't have that explosion, you know what I'm saying? So, alright guys, leave your thoughts, theories, and opinions about this storyline and about this issue down in that comment box. Where do you want the storyline with the Commonwealth to go? They've already set up the class warfare, and I've let you guys know that I don't want it to feel like anyone's lecturing to us about what's right and what's wrong. A lot of us know what's right and what's wrong. You know, we are here for escapism, but I also feel that there is potential for the storyline to go into some very interesting directions. But my question to you guys is, what is the next chunk of story? Is it going to be these communities coming together? Is it going to be these communities not working well together, butting heads? Is it going to be a problem with this leader, this governor? Is the governor going to even survive this mission? And then we're going to have to deal with Sebastian temporarily till shit pops off. I mean, what comes after this? What will be the next big storyline after this? You guys put your thoughts and opinions down in that comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn.